Hey everyone, it's Tommy from the Goalie Crease Network, and today we are going to be looking at all three breaks of the Reebok and CCM line. So a big question, and there's a lot of confusion out there about this, is what are the differences between the three breaks that Reebok and CCM offers? There's a 580, a 590, and a 600 break. So when I ordered my XLTs, I went ahead and got the 580 first, and then I ordered the 590 and the 600, and those recently came in, and I've been using them. And so what we're going to do today is I'm going to go through all of the differences, and we'll compare them, and then I'll give you some of the advantages and the disadvantages of each, along with a little bit of research that I've done. So we can go ahead and get started. Now the first glove I want to go over is the 580 break. Now this is a little bit confusing because the 580 break is actually a 90-degree angle. So let me show you that. When I close this glove, just like this, we can see here that's flat, and then it goes up at a 90-degree angle. That's going to be very different than some of the other ones we're going to look at. Now, one thing that really defines this glove is that if I turn like this, the thumb is actually on the inside of this T. So your fingers actually wrap around, and you're making a very different motion than you do in a lot of other gloves. So that's why you tend to see a lot of NHLers who have been using this glove for a very long time. They just stay with this, even though it might not be the best one for stick handling. Now, Jonas Enroth in an interview said that he keeps this glove angle because it's very easy to get lower shots, and I can definitely see why, especially because it has this flatter bottom right here, and then you have a large pocket that goes up at that 90-degree angle. So you're still getting sort of low and up at the same time as opposed to out, which is what we're going to see in some other gloves. Now, one thing I also want to point out is that a lot of the users of this glove tend not to be very good stick handlers. Probably with the exception of Mike Smith, who is a little maybe more aggressive than good, but nonetheless, he's pretty much the only one who's adequate at playing the puck with this glove style. That's probably because when you're closing the glove right here, you don't have a very good angle to keep that stick in. So it tends to be a very unstable glove as far as stick handling goes, but tends to be very good at catching the puck, especially on those low shots. And at the same time, once a puck goes into the pocket, it is going to collapse down, and it's not going to come out of that angle right there. So it tends to be a very good glove for catching and not so much for stick handling. Now this glove is the 590 break, and this one is one of the most popular gloves in the NHL right now. And there's a few reasons why. It tends to have one of the bigger pockets. As you can see right here, it has an absolutely huge pocket. It's also very large. When you open up this glove, you have a very large blocking surface, and it's not only good at catching, but it's very good at stick handling. When I close this glove like this, it makes that straight angle right here, which is very good for controlling the puck. So the goalies in the NHL who use the 590, they also tend to be fingers up style goalies. So what I mean by that, and I do the same thing, I use a fingers up glove positioning like this, which makes it a very large surface, and it makes it very easy to track that puck straight in here. So you'll see that most traditional goalies are keeping their glove out like that. However, we keep it up like this, and we'll usually use the 590 style. Now, there's a couple other interesting things about the 590. And one of the most interesting parts about it is that this is actually a 60-degree angle. So remember back to that 580, which is actually a 90-degree angle. This one is 60 degrees. So when I close the glove, and we see we have that flat surface right here again, this actually comes up at about a 60-degree angle. So it's a little bit different. Now another thing that's really interesting, and I'm going to see if I can get you guys to see this on camera. Take my hand out here and switch sides. It's actually angled upwards a little bit. Now I think this different angle right here is extremely beneficial, especially to those of us who use that fingers up position. So for example, in my fingers up position, it's going to be tipped down a little bit, but because that angle is actually up just a tiny bit, it actually provides more of a blocking surface. So it tends to be extremely beneficial. The 590 is the only one that is angled in that way. So I think that's why you tend to see a lot of fingers up goalies using the 590, and you tend to see a lot of the better puck handling goalies use it because of that very flat surface right there that really helps you maintain control of your stick. Last but not least is the 600 break. This one is mostly used by goalies who have worn Vaughn in the past or have been switching on and off from Reebok and Vaughn. So this one tends to be what I would say is probably more like a 40 or 45 degree break. So I'll show you that here. If I close the puck, it gets that nice seal just like the 580. However, at the bottom here, we're flat, and that probably comes up at somewhere around a 40 or 45 degree break. So it's a little bit different, and it's certainly more to the side. The goalies who use this sort of a glove tend to use more traditional glove positioning, and so they will angle their glove out as opposed to a fingers up. Though there are some NHLers who are using a more fingers up position with this glove. Now, this one is also very good for stick handling, maybe not as good as the 590, but you still have goalies like Carey Price who are very good stick handlers, and they use this glove model. So this one is perfectly good as well. Now, as far as catching goes, this one tends to have a very natural feel to it. So you can see it's kind of angled out a little bit, and when I go to close the glove, it's a very natural angle, and it's extremely comfortable. So it's not really awkward like the 580, which tends to close a little bit differently. And it's a little bit similar to the 590, but it doesn't obviously have that angled up break on the front of it. This one has a very small cuff, and so it's a little bit different. So I really like all three of these gloves. There are definitely their benefits and disadvantages. If you are a stick handling goalie and you are a fingers up goalie, you should definitely go with the 590. If you're a stick handling goalie but you use a more traditional glove positioning, probably go with the 600. And really, the 580, maybe more if you are a catching goalie, but you're not very good at stick handling, and that's not a part of your game that you're looking to benefit from. So, really, they have three different options for any kind of positioning you want or any kind of playing you want, and you just have to find the one that's going to be best for you for your game. So, I hope that helps all of you out there. If you have any questions, definitely comment. And definitely like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the forum at goaliecrease.net. Good luck out there. I'll see you out on the ice.